dreaming of seeing officers dead, like off with their head, like beat them and leave them bleeding, speeding off at a red light. I ain't respecting a badge if you don't respect life. Them bullets penetrate them, bringing lead into their sex life. I know it might die, I know y'all did it. There ain't no honor, your honor, they gotta quit it. But them motherfuckers lucky they didn't get raped in prison. Ain't no serpent go in this, nah, ain't no saving grace. Them coppers dirty as Denzel with training day. They try and quiet us down, homie, but big mistake. Now everywhere the people say, middle finger to the law, middle finger to the law. Yeah, yeah, the hood yelling. Middle finger to the law, middle finger to the law. Fuck me, bitch, fuck you too. It's middle fingers in the air for them boys in blue. Middle finger to the law, middle finger to the law. Yeah, yeah, the hood yelling. Middle finger to the law, middle finger to the law. I got the whole hood yelling.
Now the story that might never have surfaced if someone hadn't picked up his home video camera. We've all seen the pictures of Los Angeles police officers beating a man they had just pulled over. The city's police chief said today he will support criminal charges against some of the men. Here's ABC's Gary Shepard.
Officers facing felony criminal charges were among a group of 15 who stopped a 25-year-old black man last Saturday night, then beat him, kicked him, and clubbed him, unaware that an amateur photographer was recording the incident on videotape. Los Angeles Police Chief Daryl Gates looked at the tape and said he thinks assault with a deadly weapon will be one of the charges.
In our review, we find that the officers struck him with batons between 53 and 56 times. One officer rendered...
But Chief Gates today called the LAPD a model department and said he has no plans to resign. Gary Shepard, ABC News, Los Angeles.
On February 4th, 1999, an incident took place in the Bronx. It left one innocent man dead and 4 police officers whose lives will never be the same again. I'm Bo Dietl. I'm a former New York City homicide detective, and today we're going to look at one of the most talked about cases in the history of the New York City Police Department.
Sir, Police Department, City, New York. Sir, Police Department, City, New York. You see your hands, please. Sir, Police Department, City. Go!
The shooting of Amadou Diallo was a tragedy. But as we look back on the events surrounding that shooting, maybe we can learn enough so that a tragedy like this will never happen again. But before we analyze anything, let's take our first look at what really happened. The date is February 4th, 1999. The police are in the neighborhood looking for a serial rapist 1 block over on Elder Street. Just a few hours earlier, while on routine patrol, the street crime unit has taken a loaded gun from a street thug. 12:40 a.m., 4 officers in a car. Tonight they're patrolling the streets in an unmarked red Taurus. They're all from the street crime unit, working the 4-3 and 4-7 precincts in the Bronx. A man fitting the description of the serial rapist they are looking for, he's on the steps of 1157.
Kenneth Boss, been a New York City police officer for 8 years.
I'm Police Officer Richard Murphy. I've been on the force for 6 years.
I'm Edward McMillan. I've been on the force over 6 years.
They stopped the car in front of 1157 and 1159 Wheeler. These are connected 2-story brick row houses. As the police get closer to him, he trains his eyes on the cars. Even though it's unmarked, people in the neighborhood know a police car when they see one.
It's a New Jersey guy.
Hey, Kenny, hold up. Hold up. Like the car. You see that guy back there? That guy right
To the police, he looks suspicious, just a feeling. But all the cops know about feelings.
Excuse me, sir. Police Department, City, New York. We have a word, sir. Police Department. Sir. Sir, can we have a word with you?
At this point, Mr. Diallo has not answered several warnings issued by both officers. By some accounts, the officers will shout to Mr. Diallo at least 6 times.
Stop, police. We have a word with you. He said stop. Sir, he said let you see your hands. Hey, stop. Don't move. Let me see your hands. Police Department, City, New York. Sir, don't move, sir. Police Department, City, New York.
Where's the fucking gun?
What?
Where's the fucking gun?
What are you talking about? Sean, talk to me. What are you talking about? What do you mean there's no gun?
Oh, Jesus
Christ! There's no fucking gun!
What? Oh my God.
Oh, dude, don't.
Oh my God. Hold on. Wait,
Keep breathing, buddy.
Go for a bus. Where's Kenny?
Keep breathing. Keep breathing. Hey, pal. Hey.
My name is Amadou Diallo. I am 22 years old. I am from Guyana. I work as a street peddler in the city of New York. I have never been in trouble with the police.
And now we're joined with Mike Ceravola. He's a retired detective lieutenant, formerly of the Street Crime Unit. I want to ask Mike some questions tonight. Mike, do you feel as though these cops were under their guidelines, what we learned in the academy about using deadly physical force, what we learned when we were cops together, did they do the right thing?
I firmly believe that these police officers felt that their lives were in danger, that they were facing imminent deadly physical force, and they acted appropriately. Unfortunately, it was a tragedy. A police officer is under the obligation not to use deadly physical force unless his life, the life of his partner or a civilian is in danger. You don't use deadly physical force to protect property, only to save life, human life. And that's what they thought they were doing. They thought they were facing a gun. They thought they were facing an armed man.
A lot of people say to me, Bo, you're a detective, homicide detective, 41 shots. How could that have happened?
First of all, it was a dark hallway. Lighting conditions are terrible. Adrenaline is pumping. You could unload a clip, 16 rounds, in a matter of just a few seconds. They keep firing because the truth of the matter is Mr. Diallo didn't fall down. He still had that object in his hand, and they continued because it wasn't over.
I think the most important thing here that night, Mike, was when they come up on him, they tell him, they identify themselves as being police officers, then he's struggling to get this thing out of his pocket, whether show him ID. Then one of the cops feels though a gun. When he yells gun, everyone's up that it's a gun.
All bets are off, because if I'm working with you and you yell gun, I believe that Officer Dietl is faced with a man with a gun. I'm going to pull out and follow your lead.
But my point is, Mike, then when that happens, then the other cop's backing off the stoop, he falls down, the other two cops believes he's down, his partner believes he's down.
The other officers, I firmly believe, thought that the officer that went down was shot.
You think they thought that one cop was hit?
Definitely a contributing factor to the bedlam that ensued there. The brother officers thought that one of the officers was shot. There were ricochets flying all over the place, rounds coming back off the grating, off the concrete, coming back at their head, and that's why they kept firing. They thought they were in a gun battle.
Could the cops have gone behind the front of a car and then put their guns up like we learned, use the car hood to protect themselves?
Yeah,
but
we can second guess. I mean, the training that you and I went through when we went up to the range, they taught us to take cover, and that's a very, very important aspect. Take cover, because if you're behind the hood.
Is this an isolated incident? Is this an indicator of a pattern of other things that have gone on?
Well, I think it's an indicator of a larger, set of circumstances that people have to deal with, and I think that's part of what Mark and what Lori are saying is that, we often allow these people in power to ascribe a level of unusualness to this, right? This is something that doesn't usually happen. We can't believe this happened.
Right.
We're going to deal with it on a case-by-case basis, and by allowing us to talk about it like it's a special thing, we saw it with Rodney King, we saw it with Diallo, we saw it with Sean Bell, we see it with the kid out of UCLA who was tasered in the library, although he wasn't putting up any type of physical resistance. 2 weeks ago, in fact. So, in fact, the same week as Sean Bell, which is what made it so interesting, is all of these things going on. You see the woman in Atlanta whose house was raided. You see the young man who was 14 years old, who was at boot camp, who was murdered by the correctional officers.
Right,
There's a whole slew of examples and case studies that we can look at to see that this isn't an unusual circumstance at all. But every time it happens, we allow people to talk about it like it is. I think Mark's point is 100% right, and that is we must not only critique this and talk about it, but we must have a list of demands and a set of penalties if people don't meet our demands. That's the problem, is that we tell people to do stuff, they say, okay, sure, and then 6 months goes by, nothing happens, and we move on to the next controversy.
Right. Well, okay, so you've laid out a number of cases cases, so obviously this is not the only incident, although we did hear people talk about this as if it was an isolated case, and it's being investigated as such. But in addition to just calling for the resignation of the commissioner, there's got to be some policies that could be changed, or there certainly seems like there should be policies that can be changed. Are there any things that come to mind?
Well, first off, I think what people have to do is to deal with this from a historical context. See, what makes this so predictable, and I'm talking about the NYPD, the New York City response to the Sean Bell incident, is that we've had the same identical efforts before.
Right.
Most recently, it was Timothy Stansberry, who was shot and killed by a police officer on the top floor of his building. Him and some friends were going to the top floor of their building. The police officer came off of the roof, fired a shot, and killed Timothy Stansberry. The police commissioner's response at that time was to label that shooting unjustifiable, which gave a lot of people in the community so much hope.
Right.
Wow, it's a big deal. The commissioner said unjustifiable. It meant nothing.
We've seen the Rodney King beatings, we've seen the Amadou Diallo shootings, the Sean Bell shootings, and countless other incidents that go on throughout America. There is clear. On March 11th, 2012,